Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Am I audible? Teehee. Hi, it's hilarious. Welcome being first. Hi. You were the first one to click the first, so you are technically first. Hi. Hi. Hello, I'm here. I'm tired, but I'm here. Oh my god, guys, you have no idea. I probably should have taken today to rest more, but I felt fine, so fuck it. I said let's go. Let's at least stream a little bit for people, have people be able to say hi and everything. Tano, hi. Mwah. And for you, Solaris, you get double for clicking off for Tano. There's another one for you. Hi. Now.
Rinkum pop, rinkum pop, rinkum pop.
Hi, Rage. Holy shit, you guys are clicking everything. Stretch fine. Oh, that was nice. Oh. Anyway, hi, how's it going? Bam sauce. Hi. That's the name. Don't wear thin like you would a sauce. Ha ha. Wait, no, the sauces are usually thick. Never mind. Heard that one? I can usually hear them. So like, if you guys pay very close attention when you guys tell me to stretch, you usually hear a pop or two in my shoulders. Usually I hear them. Am I still sleepy? Oh, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. My feet hurt. Like my feet hurt to the point where ow. I guess that's waking me up. Go to bed. Shut up. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. Like my foot is a little numb when I have like shoes on, if that makes sense. Like it's just sore. Like there's a little bit of a callus that I just need to give it a good little soak. That's all I need to do. So I'll probably be doing that after stream before bed. A nice hot water soak. Oh, haven't done that in ages. It'll probably fucking hurt at first, but it'll be good. How have you guys been though? How's your week? We are about halfway through May, by the way. It's fucking crazy. May feels like it just started. It's already basically halfway done. What was I gotta say? Not much has happened this week besides work. Pretty much, yeah. Nothing new has happened this week, actually. Yeah. Like everything that I told you guys last week, that's all that's happened. Nothing new this week, just a lot of work, a lot of exhaustion. I have to fucking go to the DMV this week. God, fuck, I hate going to the DMV. Boy, what the fuck? Hi Bristy, hi Fudge, welcome in. What was I gonna say? I saw a lot of drama on Twitter because people are stupid. Nothing crazy, just people having incorrect opinions on Twitter as always, you know. What song is this? This song is cute. Toys on a Tear. I don't know where this is from. Very cute. Gotta wait for next month to the DMV. I didn't make an appointment. I have to renew my license, and it's like, hey, you gotta go in person. I'm like, fuck, they gotta take a picture. That's like the only reason they ever make you go to the actual site, you know. Because I did everything online, but it's like, hey, you gotta go into the office this time around. I'm like, fuck, god damn it. What happened this time? Oh, there's a lot of drama that happened. What was I gonna say? So yeah, so I gotta do that tomorrow because my particular office is only open certain hours, and half of the hours end up being on days that I work. So I kind of got to just figure it out. Anyway, the drama that happened this week, really funny. So you guys know, probably, if you guys follow VTubers, that there at times, right, randomly have been trends of VTubers essentially showing their face. People call it doxing themselves, but they're not. They're just showing their face, because a lot of times people are very pretty, very handsome, and they deserve to show off their faces. And then a famed voice actress slash VTuber slash singer, Amelie Monarch, was like, yes, you're all fucking beautiful, you deserve to show yourselves, please show me how beautiful you are. And people misconstrued that as to her essentially telling people to dox themselves, and it's like, bro, she literally was just like, hey, you're beautiful, don't be ashamed if you want to show yourself, like, we're all gonna love you. But people, as always, you do on the internet, take people's words and twist them to mean the exact opposite of what the actual meaning was. And it's really funny how it kind of divided people into like trying to gatekeep VTubers as like, oh, you show your face, you're a fake VTuber, VTubers should never show their faces. And it's like, and then other people were fighting like, people can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, if you care about not face revealing, go watch Corpos, motherfucker. Fuck you. I thought that was funny. It became this giant thing of people fighting each other, basically, and I thought it was silly. And there was another one that came up. Oh yeah, somebody, one very famous. This is Fire Emblem, isn't it? No, this is Endless Possibilities. This is the final boss, I think. Exactly right. People being dumb on Twitter. Water still at exactly. The other thing that happened was one of the bigger VTubers blocked some random bitch. I don't care. I don't really care specifics. And then the person that got blocked was like, oh my god, this person is scared by me being the same type of creature that this VTuber is. To the point where like the person themselves was like, hey, I don't remember you. I don't remember why I blocked you. Stop playing the victim. I don't give a fuck who you are and what you do. Don't use my name to start unnecessary drama for clout. And I'm like, yes, call these people out. Fuck the drama baiters, the rage baiters, the drama channels and everything. Fuck these people. And that just brought up a couple of other, hi Great Late Movies, hello. That brought up a couple other like moderate to bigger size streamers being like, hey, I can block whoever the fuck I want. Like, fuck you. Shit. If you take it personally, that's on you. That's not on me. And I'm like, oh, exactly. People are still essentially deep-seated in high school and mentality where everybody has to be in the know. Everybody assumes a certain thing is a personal attack, and I'm like, this is why the median age of the internet being like 17 is really stupid. Anyway, I just thought it was funny. Like, shit, I'm not gonna do a face reveal probably ever, honestly. Like, I'll never even make it like a sub or a follower reward. Fuck that. Like, I don't plan on it. Will I eventually? I don't know, maybe when I'm comfortable with how I look, but as it stands right now, I'm just not. I'm not gonna do it. What game today? Mouse PI. We're just yapping a little bit, you know. Most streamers do a little bit of yapping before they get to the main topic of the day. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a little bit of Mouse PI today. What else? Anything else happened that I saw on Twitter? It's really funny. I say on Twitter just because like that's where most things come up, because I don't give a shit about like things on the news. Like, oh, whatever. The news is depressing. I try not to watch it. You guys, everybody would be a lot happier if they just stopped watching news or Not watching the news, but watching it every day. It's a Rin. Hi, Pecunia. Hi. OMG, hi. Like, you should still be informed. I'm just saying, like, watching the news, like, don't watch CNN 24 hours a day. That shit will actually, like, give you a heart attack, man. Ooh. But yeah, did you guys hear about the hentai virus? Apparently, I just found out, I think yesterday, maybe even today. Apparently, scientists, doctors say that it has a chance to shrink your dick by 3 inches. And I'm like, the micro PP can become an inner PP. I just think that's funny. Yeah. Yeah, so be very careful with the hentai virus. It might, if it catches you, be careful. Ironic name, hentai. It's not hentai virus. It's like hanta or something. Everyone just calls it the hentai virus because it's like essentially one letter away from being the same thing. If you don't consider the A and the E at the beginning interchangeable. So yeah, it is a little scary because apparently it's fucking deadly. Isn't that virus from rats? Originally, it comes from rats. Rat saliva, rat pee, rat feces. So originally, the only way to get it is from dealing with that form of rat stuff, which is why making sure you're always wiping down like things that are from warehouses makes sense. Like if you get like a thing of sodas with the tops open, always wash the tops. Just you want to be safe. However, the specific strain that was on that ship 3 weeks ago or whatever was found to be fairly transmittable between humans. So that's why like the cruise ship that it was found to be originated from was under quarantine for like I think a week and a half, 2 weeks, essentially to make sure that the virus was dead before the people were allowed back on land. The rat strike again. Yeah, this could very much be another Black Plague, like legitimately. But from what I understand, it's not as scary as like a COVID situation or even the Black Plague, because it's not as transmittable as COVID is, and because of that, there's a good chance that the people who have it will just die before they transmit it, like for lack of a better way of putting it. Like they'll just croak before they have a chance to transmit it to people, and it's fucked up, but like it technically makes it safer than like COVID 6 years ago. It's more deadly, but it's also technically safer, if that makes sense. The rat jam emote. Anyway, instead of being sad, let's play some mouse PI. It's time to have a gouda time, guys. I didn't look up any, and I mean any new what's the word? Cheese name, so I apologize. Hang on, let me turn my thing black and white. The game's not booted up yet, so hang on. Black and white. Almost done. I gotta turn my merch thing black and white. Everything gets to be black and white. Just like Michael Jackson said. Something, something, black or white. I don't know. That being said, I might have to use the restroom fairly soon because I drank a lot of water before stream, so I kind of have to pee. But I kind of want to do a little bit of gaming before I do that. Guys, you stream? Thank you. Of course, yeah. I always do my best to stream. Is the game running? Ah! Okay, it's running. It's just taking a second. Taking its sweet fucking time. There we go. Back. Oh, the game crashed. No, I'm just kidding. I thought it did. All right, let me know how the audio is. I follow bald people. Does this look like the face of a bald person? Anyway, hi. I'm not bald. I do have a bald toggle, but I never use it. But hi. Pleased to meet you. Be prepared, or sorry, be prepared to be fuck. be impressed. I'm really bad at cheese puns. Salutations. Not lass, maybe. What's gender fluid of lass and lad? I guess lad works. Doing fantastic with these puns. Shit. You know what? I really have to pee. Like it came up so fast, like I knew I had to, but as soon as I put in the game, I'm like, I gotta pee. Anyway, so yeah, I have to take a quick break. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, guys. Ah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm sorry. The piss grenade just like went off in my room, I guess, and I just had to fucking pee. No, honestly, I had to since the ads rolled, and I was like, fuck, do I want to delay my stream for like another 5 minutes while I go pee? Oh, and I decided not to, and it was a bad idea. Anyway, I'm here. Be prepared to be fucked, honey. I'm always prepared. Sorry. I technically am too. Also, I thought of a new cheese pun. Hello, meat grinders. Hi, Ruby. Does this dress make me look fatter? Get it? It's a New York version of saying fatter, but it's also the word feta cheese. Anyway. Was that good or was that bad? In the right spots, yeah. Sorry, I need to pop up. I mix it up. I forgot to turn it up. There we go. How do I play this game again? I like this. Anyway, how you doing, Ruby? How's everybody doing? Why did the ham spam you shake its hand? I don't know. I did it. Where am I going? Oh, this is just like a safe room. It was happy to... Hi, buddy. It was happy to meet me. Bye. Who the fuck is alive? Oh, you are. He's not dead. Get fucked. You guys know who else is happy to meet you? These fat fucking thighs of mine. That's who. Sorry. I should stop being horny on main, huh? I like this banjo, by the way. More. Bye. Jarvis, more legs. Jarvis, expose your legs. The headshot was brutal. The headshots are pretty brutal in this game. Goodbye. Oh, I hurt myself. This is an explosive weapon. I didn't realize it. I did like 40 damage to myself there. Holy shit. Sorry if you guys hear screaming, by the way. There's kids outside. The clue. Over 100 shrews per shipment. Where did they go? What happened to them? It was not a... It's not 100 per. It's alright. Sorry. I guess my mommy nature makes the kids louder when I'm around.
100 shrews per shipment. That makes... I didn't even want to do them. What's that noise? It's coming from up here.
What was that noise? Must have been the wind. Uh-oh. Oh. They fucking like literally exploded. Oh, I thought you were dead. I need health. I know there's some over here that I didn't grab. I still have cheese, but I don't want to use it. Hi, buddy. All glory to the Hypno Toad. Is that it? Like, actually, was that it? That's kind of funny. money. Health. Haven't used this gun in a while. You know what I haven't seen in a while? A secret. I'm actually going the right way. Oh, I am.
No fondue way. Captain is Captain Goddamn Sim.
Oh shit, dirty cop.
The cop of the year himself. So much for that. But the other guy must be the professor. Ugh, he's got that particular brand of a quite big affair that I'd rather forget.
Is the audio okay, by the way? Not too loud, I hope. Looks like it's in a okay level, maybe a little loud, but let me know.
Oh, hell.
I was at 1 health and I didn't realize it. Shit. I exploded. Alright, we're chill. That did a lot of damage to him, like legitimately. I think I hit myself with that actually. Goodbye. I know there's health over here, grab it. I'm stuck. Oh shit, he's right here. Holy fuck.
Messy, uneven, and way over my head. I had to go back, think it through. Maybe even across.
There's a lot of barrels that I didn't utilize, is there? Thank you, Mr. James Gunn. Where do I go? How do I leave? Is it the boat? It's the boat, isn't it? Where's my car at? Oh, there's the exit. Let's get out of here. We did it. We survived. Roadhouse. What do I gotta do? They have missions, right? Oh, it's different. 2 different missions. Let's go back here then. You know, chat, I I recently started watching a new anime today.
Plenty
Like
of
literally
pieces
just started
on
it
the
today.
floor. Time to start pinning them in place.
I'm kind of addicted, but also not, if that makes sense. Give me all these, thank you very much. What's the anime? This might only mean something to people who watch the original. It is the newest Code Geass series. It's 2 years, I think it's a year and a half, 2 years old now, but still, I haven't watched it. Give me that. It is, I think the full title is Code Geass Rose of the Recapture, I think it was. Hey girl.
You ever wonder?
I don't wonder. I do.
Yeah. But do you ever stop and think about your, you know, stellar career?
I watched
Jack,
3
I
episodes
live it.
today, and
What is your point?
yeah, kind of hooked on it already.
You wrote that big expose back in the day, right? Toppled one
Need to
of the
watch Ghost in the
mob
Shell. I haven't
families.
seen the new one.
Yes, Jack.
I honestly don't remember the
I was
original.
there.
Right. So
Anyway,
now
I
the
read.
family's gone, out of the picture. But suddenly we got these hitmen popping up out of thin air, just poof. and
TNA 27
somebody
remake. Oh,
drops.
okay, it's not out
They're
yet.
Silent, efficient, and deadly.
For some reason I thought it was.
What of it?
Well, makes
How's it
me
going there, Red?
wonder, what if the other families saw an opportunity, figured, why get our hands dirty?
Mm-hmm.
So they erect a firm,
Correct.
a company to offload their dirtiest work, like a.
But yeah, if you've ever
Real
watched
Murder LLC.
the original Code
What
Geass
I
from
mean
like
is,
2000, what,
you
6?
did something good.
Did it
but maybe
2006,
the mob,
2006?
they made
No, maybe like
something
09, 08.
better.
No, heck, it is 2006 now to think about it.
For us.
Shit.
I sincerely hope it's those 5-cent novels speaking.
The new one
They're
so far,
clearly frying
3
your
episodes
brain.
in, it really does actually feel like the OG in a sense. Not exactly, but pretty close. And if you haven't watched Code Geass, if you can get past the fact that it has like the weirdest body proportions out of a lot of animes out there, it is probably in my top 5 favorite anime.
Got a moment, Jack?
For you, always. Well, almost.
Good. Oh, good. I've got a little job for you then. I want to update our menu. And a real standout dish. Introducing.
It's probably one of the few anime that I can rewatch from the beginning.
Or
I know what's coming, and it'll still like make me feel things.
Burgero.
What?
What the hell are you talking about?
How's your burger? What?
Look, they're standard grilling procedures.
Oh, a blue,
You
like a
fry burger
blue.
patty for
a
5,
rare
6,
burger?
or 7 minutes, right?
6
you
or
get-
7?
I want to simplify this for you, Jack.
Oh my, I'm
Rare,
tired, but I'm doing good.
Medium, or nearly done. And then there's the well done, which usually ends up as carbonized waste in the bin out back.
God, even back then they hated
This is
well done,
key.
huh?
There's this special technique from the old world, likely, passed
Huh.
down by the street boys here, to make a burger so well done that it is truly beyond description. Pure insanity for the taste buds. Less a dish and more a culinary revolution, Jack. Gonna draw huge crowds to the little and big. But there's a catch. You need some serious heat and a ton of ash. So, if you can find the right hot spot, I'll give you a patty, and we'll see if this actually works.
Sure, I'll give it a shot. Nothing says smart plan like running around with a slab of raw meat.
Hell yeah. Raw
much
meat in your
obliged, Jack.
pants. Hello.
Tell me, Corny, why do we always meet in these seedy places?
Screw you, Pepper. This is a well-respected establishment.
Yeah, real high class.
That's really funny, actually. Just behind you. Fuck you, Jack.
Boy, you've got to understand. I'm a public figure. Always in the spotlight, right?
That you are.
So, friends are friends, but business is business.
So what you're really saying is You're ashamed of being friends with a bottom shelf private dick.
Dick.
Well, I wouldn't put it quite like that.
But you just did.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, come on. You know how these things work. What keeps the wheels turning.
Sure, money. But
Why is a
backbone?
private eye called a dick again? I don't remember. I think I might have looked up the reason why a PI was called a dick before, but I don't really remember why PIs are titled as dicks. What's up? Oh!
Hey there, boss man.
Where am I going? Wrong way. I need to go to my private officers over here. You're not working on the bottom down there no more. You're working up top. Good on you, buddy. You finally finished your first task of the day. Hey, girl. I'll get to you in a second. The cricket cops and these crazy squints from the old world are in it together. The one called the Professor shakes hands with none other than a shining star of the Force, Captain Sims. Ooh, a lead.
I better bring Corny up to speed before I wade into the muck.
Okay. Prescription, yeah, seasickness medicine. This is, yeah, the 2 weeks of trade deals, which I've already got a lead for. This is the mouse shipment, which again have a lead for. The cops are on to me, that makes sense. Okay, talk to her.
So what
Hey,
exactly
girl.
did you do at Tensel's to get your
Looked it up back then. Dick was slang for
glamorous
detective.
behind kicked to the
Okay,
curb?
I can send it to you.
Kicked? Please. I left on my own terms. Nose high, tail swaying.
Oh
Not a
yeah,
single
sway that tail,
boot
girl.
on my rear.
Well, either way, there must have been a reason.
I love
Oh,
Vivian.
No.
She's very pretty.
Ridiculous overtime, zero artistic integrity, the occasional wandering hand. Oh, a paycheck.
The occasional
so
wandering
thin I
hand.
could
She just
roll a
admitted she got
cheese
felt
stick
up.
with it. Pick your poison.
Surely those ain't the
She
only
literally
reasons,
just said
right?
she got felt up.
Sounds like you got a soft spot for the place.
You are persistent, aren't you, Mr.
Oh
Pepper?
my, yeah, no, you could read that. Like, it's pretty easy.
Tinsel's wasn't just a job. It was an experience, a lifestyle. You didn't just make movies. You took life by the handful, gave it a good shake, and spilled every last drop onto the screen.
God
It was
damn.
about skirting the edge.
Are
of
we
what's
sure she's talking about
what's
movies here?
appropriate. About grabbing what you wanted and never blinking. And me.
She's a really good voice
I
actress,
never
by the way.
blinked.
Good lord.
So, you partied too hard and got yourself in trouble.
I partied just enough. Though, in hindsight, my just enough might have been a little much for the wussies. But without those parties, I'd never have met half the dazzling souls I did. I'd never have met Betty.
Who might still be breathing if not for all that skirting the edge.
You implying something, Mr. Pepper?
Me? Imply? Never. I just connect the dots.
Well then, connect them elsewhere. You're sniffing around the wrong mouse hole.
Does that mean I can sniff around your mouse hole, girl? Girl? Anyway, I did not just say that, sorry. No, don't delete my save. Cornelius is here. What do you want?
Jack, listen up. If you're planning a trip to the countryside and happen to end up in the wetlands, there might be a little something you can do for me. No stink this time.
A second mission?
Oh?
Yeah, see, back in the day, I used to run a small processed cheese side gig. We did stuff, all sorts of stuff, for all sorts of reasons. Way out in the swamps. Anyway, I came up with a really great recipe, real special one. Problem is, I forgot it. You'd be helping me a ton if you could find it. It's called Perfect Bog Fondue.
Yeah, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Or make it water, for that matter.
Appearances can be deceiving, Jack. Track it down, and I'll be in your
I mean, he's
debt.
not wrong, right? Because people
just
swear by
add on
blue
to the
cheese, and that thing's fucking disgusting to me. To me, excuse me.
Jack! Avast me hearty. How was the bay?
Stinky.
Yes. Well, the place could use, as the forefathers would say, a touch of gentrification.
Gentrification? Are you fucking
Did you
serious?
find anything useful?
I did. The cops are neck deep in the shrew racket, dunked like a breadstick in a bowl of melted mozzarella.
That spells trouble. Either for us or the shrews. What else did you come across?
Well, looks like there was some kind of a deal between the cheeseleggers and the ringleader of the crooked cops.
Yeah.
Goes by Sims.
Captain Sims?
Yes.
One and the same.
Oh, terrible news indeed. We need to tread carefully from here on out.
That ain't all. There was this scientist of sorts there. The way he carried himself rubbed me all wrong, and not in the good way. This ain't your run-of-the-mill trafficking ring, Cornelius. I can feel it in my gut. Either that, it's something that I had for lunch. Either way, something much darker is going on.
You have to dig deeper, Jack. Little lives depend on it.
You don't need to remind me. With the cheeseleggers in play, the cops likely headed for the wetlands. That's where I'm going.
The wetlands, that's what they call me.
Get
Sorry.
some solid evidence.
Never mind.
and
I didn't say
we'll
nothing.
get to the bottom of this in no time. Hard evidence, Jack. Harder than the diamond-laced grana patano.
There's so much shit I need. I'm assuming the ashy spot is probably gonna be the opera ruins, because there's a lot of ash, right? It's shit burned down. And then obviously the wetlands for the bog fondue. That is really far away. Let's go to the opera first. It's right here.
That place was cleaning up nice. Clear as day, Curd hadn't lifted a finger. And clear eyes should
Hi.
keep my mouth shut before someone guessed who lit the match.
Hi. he's singing. He's dancing away. Free money. So what he's saying is shut the hell up and don't let people realize I'm the one that burned this thing to the ground. Hey, look, it's the prima donna. It's the bitch I killed. Like legitimate. Ooh, a safe. This is a hard safe. Ooh, a schematic. These things are really not that hard, honestly. Oopsie. It's just a matter of figuring out what hard move they have to make. I like that. He's using his tail like a mouse's, or not mouse, a monkey's tail. Motherfucker, I am so sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean that. I didn't realize how broken this place was. I apologize. Hello. Money. Is this what I think it is that I'm doing? I think it is. Sure is.
No press today. I'm busy.
I'm not the press. I'm here to press. You get it?
Miles Curd, big mouse party spokesperson. A pleasure.
That's Mr. Curd. Let's act like we weren't raised by shrews. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm in the middle of...
Oh, watching other people do the actual work? Yeah, I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Curd, I'm investigating the unfortunate demise of one Betty Lynch. I have reason to believe your boss, mayoral candidate Milford Sawyer, knew her. Might even be useful in figuring out how she ended up dead.
And who the hell are you? I don't remember seeing you around the MPD headquarters, and I know all our good investigators.
Our.
What was that?
Just a cough. Name's Jack Pepper, PI for hire. Not here on official business.
He said
just
the
doing a favor
title,
for
technically.
someone looking for closure. Thing is, this whole case has a, how do I put it? A spoiled way kind of
way.
sink. You might want to help me out before that smell starts sticking to you too.
Pepper. All right, fine. We're too close to the election for some half-baked accusations to start fouling up the campaign.
Thank you.
Shoot your shot.
Already did. So is Sawyer close to Betty in any way?
No chance. Maybe they clinked glasses at some movie fundraisers, but that's it. I'm the one riding shotgun in Sawyer's inner circle.
He's the right-hand man. Got it.
I'd know.
Could he have kept it quiet? You know, to avoid the kind of scandal that might make a mouthpiece cry at night.
Watch your tongue, Pepper. When you're a public figure like Milford, small-time celebs show up whether you want them or not, hoping to ride your coattails. Doesn't mean there's more to it than that.
Oh, see, that's funny because I got pictures. Betty rubbing elbows with BMP officials. Real cozy, real not accidental.
Definitely.
Yeah, because she was always circling our parties like some fame-hungry hawk.
Should have called her a
Same as
vulture,
every
but you know.
stolid and wannabe socialite looking for a headline. But trust me, no one in the party worth their salt would mix business with that.
Sounds like you had a personal gripe with Betty, Mr. Curd. Is there something I should...
Listen, Pepper Shaker, I don't like where this is going, so I'm giving you one last polite suggestion. Piss off. Grilling's
That is
over.
pretty polite, depending on what.
kind of smoky in here.
Get the hell out of my yard.
Well, that went about as smooth as a brick through a windshield. Lucky I still had my teeth. And plenty left to chew on.
So this doesn't count then. Okay, so this isn't what I want. Okay, so this isn't the hot spot that I'm looking for.
Feels like a dead end leading to a burning dumpster. Maybe
Penis.
Vivian can make sense of the mess.
You said a funny word. Thanks for the 1 week of streams, which technically for me is like 2.5 weeks. You should have said the word dick, because it would have been on brand, because I am playing as a dick. Hey, girl.
So,
Sorry,
any
Pecunia.
progress on the case, Monsieur Pepe?
Yeah, and it reeks worse than the brie I left sitting in the fridge.
I don't see a fridge.
Exactly.
Exactly. But I did cross paths with Mr. Curd.
And?
And he clammed up quicker than a marina shellfish.
God,
in a
I should be a PI. I'm like,
Still,
fuck, man, I have the
found
same
that while
quips.
Betty got close to Sawyer, she, well, how do I put it? She befriended Curd as well, but...
Yes.
Remembered how much you like
Quick,
dick. Shut up.
out with it.
See, here's where it gets kooky. Like, real kooky. Curd spoke of her like she was nothing more than a bottom of
I've
the
never
barrel
had
wench,
spotted
and then
dick.
out
If
of
you
the
don't know
blue,
what spotted
she
dick is, I
must
think
have
it's a
slapped me with
pastry,
lawsuit
a
like I'm
British
some
pastry.
snooty millionaire.
That is vital information indeed.
Could be. At least I know where to go to next. You see, Curd's got dirt close to home. So that's where I'm heading.
So, you're leaving town, Mr. Pepper?
Just for a little while.
Good. Go do your thing. I'll poke around here and there. I have a few friends in, let's say, mid to high places.
Yeah,
You take care, Mr. Pepper.
you
Oh,
too,
I
girl.
will.
Alright. Last mile created by Land, you tell that you're vulgar, much on the rise, but he doesn't want surfacing. Up, up. Ooh, and you lead.
Finally, a countryside case. Interesting.
Okay, I gotta go to... Wait, did I do the thing already? Oh, I think I did. Go back to the dude then.
The usual, bud?
Huh? Oh, was I late? Are these like timed missions, if that makes sense? Or is it possible that the opera's gonna burn down again? Let's go to the bog first. Hong Kong, Hong Kong, Hong Kong. The far wetlands. You know, this game kind of makes me want to play Cuphead. I've never actually beat it. I think I did either the first 2 or the first 1.5 islands. I never actually beat the game.
So, we really going through with this?
Well, the boss said so, so we do it. These cheese leggers have outlived their useful from...
A usefulness?
Yep. So we plant a few bombs, watch the canisters go boom, boom like sky high, then we're out of here.
Shh. Nobody say a word. Ooh, a safe. Be ready. Knock, knock. Open up the door. It's real.
God damn it.
I can't see.
This is the police!
Double kill. Thanks for the cheese. Fuck you.
You really went
You better squeal.
hard. What's this raid about, huh? What are you coppers up to?
I don't know, man. I'm just following orders.
Really? I'm sure you can do better than that.
The boss said, plant a few bombs.
Okay.
Watch the canisters go boom, like sky high. He said we gotta clear out the swamp.
Drain the swamp.
Rid 'em of
Drain
those
the swamp.
cheese-legging scum. They're no good no more. Outlived their useful.
All right, enough. I get the picture. Now I gotta find the cheese-legger's boss before the crooked cops get him.
I wanted to shoot him, but he just fucking he actually disappeared.
That's the same bird I saw at Waller Bay.
Oh shit. Cannonball! Ooh, what's this? Love. Ooh, what does this song remind me of now? Oh, this reminds me of something, but it's obviously not this game. Goodbye. I have no health. I need to find some health. This place being open road is actually kind of scary. What the fuck? I thought that was health. 3 of them. 4 of them. I know what this reminds me of. Fucking Royal Crown Review for the... If you don't know the theme song for The Mask, it's the theme song for The Mask with what I'm thinking of. I have a single health. You know what? I have cheese. Boys, on to defense. Cops be here. Go to Chief Mansion, you know where. Defense.
A crew, a lead, and a good laugh. What more could a mouse detective want?
I need health. Somebody's shooting me for real? There's health up there, I need to get it. Jabba! Hi! Sorry it's not putting the thing up. Hi, welcome in. How you doing? What's these? Ooh, schematic. Hi, Jama. How you doing? Welcome in, guys. Oh, got hit by the eye. That's unfortunate timing. I know what I need to do. I might need to reload. Yeah, I need to reload that thing. Hang on, I can fix it. That was so delayed. Holy moly. Replay this thing. Does it work? It doesn't work. Oh wait. I know what I'm screwing up at. It's not that one I need to reload. It's this one I need to reload. There we go. Oh my god, hi Java, how you doing? How's your Wednesday? Welcome in. I am Ring Kamori, the Dragon VTuber. I am in black and white because this game is in black and white. And I was near death. I'm in the middle of the wetlands, which is what they call your mom. That was a dog I just killed. I'm sad now. That was a bad joke and I killed a dog. That's true, actually. Okay, so this is the... Let's go over here. There might be something more. Anyway, how are you doing? What did you do today? Health. Bats. Oh, this is even open. Flowers. Look at them go. Oh, this is the exit. Yu-Gi-Oh! New format. I saw they updated the ban list. And a lot of people are sad because they... Is it limited? Pre-mat and metamorphosis, which is like staples for like older formats. Yeah, from what I heard, it wasn't really that crazy of a list. It's just really weird how they targeted an older card. Especially considering, isn't it Call the Haunted that recently got an update, not Premature Burial? Fuck. Call of Con. Yeah. I saw the new set with the Call of the Haunted support. I think that's pretty cool though. Blow it up, please. That's cool. I haven't played any Yu-Gi-Oh in like at least 5 years. But it is cool that they decided to try to create a new archetype essentially with Call of the Haunted. But what's the new format? Also, if you're wondering what I'm playing, if you don't somehow never seen it, I think you might have been here last time. It is Doom, but I'm a mouse and it's 2D. Oh, there's gonna be somebody running out from here, I guarantee you. Making me attack dogs really pisses me off. Money. Must be, yeah, you do have to check it out. Cheese legger, what's up? Why'd your dog attack me? What's up?
Well, hey there, old timer. What's keeping you busy?
Cooking cheese curds for my boys, and that cheese be tasting fine. Gonna kick them hard in PE, and together we will dine.
Oh, that's just a change. Okay.
Say, good fella, does the name Perfect Bog Fondue ring any bells?
Well, I ain't heard that name since I was just a boy.
Hmm.
And I can bring you up the game so you can spread the joy. Wait.
Some really good singing, honestly.
Secrets, you gotta help old me and fetch me my recipe. Ah, man. And fetch
He's
me
French.
my
He just said merde.
Monty, who be asking for this?
Heard of John Brown? He's looking for a recipe.
I also like this guy. Oh lord, I love him.
John be keeping this. Ooh, it's hardly a surprise. He was nuts a lang
Nut.
and cheese gurgling was his vice.
Gurgling what?
You handle the stories, I'll handle the thingies.
Oh, speaking of, hang on. I forgot to turn off my blue light filter again. Ah! I always forget to turn it off when I stream. It just turned on, that's why. It turned the game slightly red. Which makes no sense. It's in black and white. How can it turn red?
That old hilltop haunt. Spookier than a tomb, and half as inviting. Just need to find a way to sneak inside.
You guys ready? Because I'm ready. Oh god. Also, I like this song too. I love the banjo. Why are you? You're just stuck there. Spray and pray, baby. Fuck you. I hate those guys. I think they deal the most damage so far of any enemy that I've seen. Also, have you noticed? Oh, a schematic. This weapon's name is James Gunn, similar to the Tommy gun. You love a good band. I love like a song with a good banjo. Like I don't really like country music, but like a good banjo absolutely makes a song. Sorry, that dog could take 2 shots. Oh, I blew his head off. I am so sorry, Dougie.
Let me catch you.
God. That might be why also I really like Banjo-Kazooie music, because a lot of them like have a banjo involved in some form or some shape or form. Is it a shortcut? It is. Like bluegrass, again, I don't really listen to this kind of music, but I do like a banjo. I think for me specifically, like certain genres have to be like, what's the word? Like vocalist tracks. I don't know what that does, but it gave me an elevator. The fuck? Oh. I have to go down there. Uh oh. I'm lucky I remembered I had that move. Give me the armor. I love how my health gets like a little armor that what's these? It's the thingies.
Some of them thingies.
Yeah, it's the thingies. What thingies, you might ask? I don't know. They're called thingies, so. Going down. Scratchies, thank you. Why are my Twitch alerts so slow? Are we in a horror movie suddenly? Pull the lever to unlock warp pipes? Hell yeah. Skill book. The art of plumbing. Uh-huh. Up, down, left, right, BA. Okay. Okay. I understand the assignment. Nice use of the Konami code, by the way. Big fan of the Konami code usage. Please have a noise. Please have a noise. Damn it. Hang on. Sorry, I wanted to just check why my like Twitch alerts specifically were lagging. Because half of them are fine, half of them are not. We are now officially in a horror game. I don't know why. That kind of sucks. Man, Resident Evil 9 looks different, guys. Like, actually. Well, I gotta be ready to fight.
The power's back. And trouble tagged along.
Haha. This thing pierces, by the way. Get fucked. Goodbye. No entry yet, but I saw you. Warp pipe. Oh, this is the way back. Gotcha. I understand. I don't use the mice very much anymore. I should. Mouse dogs? Yeah. No, I think they're just dogs. I don't think they're supposed to be like mouse dogs. They're just like bloodhounds or something. What would they be? Not bloodhounds, like pit bulls, I guess?
No cheese leggers in sight. Got a whiff of yeast, though.
They got mouse ears? Oh shit, I gotta take a look at them next time I see them. Keep out. End the cheese division. Just straight up prohibition talk. Remember disowns. Pear mouth fate is real. What the fuck does that mean? I assume it's French, but I don't speak French. Beware. If they spelled it wrong, Nintendo or Pokemon Company would sue them because it would be the Pokemon name. That's not an explosive. That's an explosive. Thingy.
Them thingies are coming together.
Fear the Moss Man. The fuck is a Moss Man? The foyer key. Okay. Blech. I assume that's coming up soon. Blech. Cheese. Money. There's a lot of Illuminati talk here, or stuff. Hey, what's up? It's the scream but in mouse form. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Like, we are 100% in in like RE9 mode right now. I am close now. The window opens and shuts, then opens anew. Strange shapes slip through the threshold of an accursed house. Mirrors shatter but do not break. Visages still ever present, ripping apart my mind with their ceaseless bray. The voices, oh, the voice finally saying his name. The ray of infinite light shining upon me forevermore. The rest is covered with moss, ash, and ink blots. Frankenstein's monster, I think, is what we're dealing with. The foyer key. Saw that coming. Fuck am I? Oh, back here. Good night, good night. Good night, Jama. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the raid again. Bye-bye. These guys take a lot of bullets. No wonder they give me like shotgun ammo. A lot of it. Get one shot, idiot. Goodbye. Somebody just died.
Eldritch feeling about this.
Carmen Boja.
What in the
Armin Boschia?
Silence. The dissonance. The song. Do you hear it?
No.
The unknown. It sings.
Why does this sound like Bender?
I can sing too, but you won't like it.
It deals a lot of damage. This also deals a lot of damage. Ugh. I didn't know there were holes on the ground that instantly kill you. Okay. Well, isn't that fun? Fuck that. I'm assuming those explosives are what was causing it. That was bullshit. I was kicking his ass.
Some of them things. Them things are coming together.
This guy got fucking destroyed, let me be honest.
What the hell was that?
Was it that killed me? Okay, spray and pray fucking works, I guess. Get fucking wrecked, idiot. Yeah, was it that? Like, legitimately, was it that killed me? Can't go back up. 'Cause I fell through the floor. Oh, I know what they want.
Here comes the law. Ludicrous speed. No looking back.
I fucking love this song, man. It legitimately reminds me of Cowboy Bebop, like I was mentioning. Ooh, newspaper. Paradise Moist. That's what they call me. Wise guy, I get fucked. Who else is here? I hear something. Blaze.
Boy, these woods are real dark. Almost
it. Fuck is this? Strange stick figures. I'm a totem ready to conjure some crazy swamp witch. Since it is proven that the cult is active in the wetlands, yet there's this itch at the back of their mind, a nagging sense that it's not the only place they haunt.
Maybe it is all connected.
Huh, okay. Ooh, the Varnisher. Uh-oh, we gotta run. Is this like a little Easter egg that he's just singing the fight music? Was it this? Yeah, the steamboat make a whistle. It's probably what it is more likely. Knew there was something in here. Oh, warp pipe. Secret. he had rider's block. Oh my god, the secret is ammo. This secret is loaded. Poor guy. How many days? That's 35, 70, 105, 150, 117 days. I wonder what that is a reference to. Is that rat poison?
The heat's already here. Damn. I need to find the cheese luggers pronto.
I'm still missing a thingy, by the way. I like to imagine if I was in combat, they'd be like, wait, guys, I gotta lockpick this thing. I don't feel bad about that. Like, oh my god. I think I took 50 damage from that. Why are you using the lizard emote? Standing there where you picked the log. Yeah, just like, hey guys, relax. Baseball card. Donnie Mackies. God, this is just gonna increase the amount of like times there could be a secret somewhere because of the fucking warp pipes. It's just like how in any like shoujo anime, like they don't kill while they're transforming, right? You know, that's a really easy time to kill somebody. Police badge made with fondue and inflected blue cheese, solid if sticky piece of evidence pointing to the Crooked Club side activities.
For a sharp-nosed detective like me.
Goodbye, friend. Sorry, I'm exploring, even though I probably shouldn't. Cheese legger's key. Shit. So I'll be coming back from this area. Gotcha. Hey, it's the dude again. I gotta find him.
They're still throwing punches, even with the cops sticking through them like fleas on a rat's butt.
Oh, I'll fucking kill you, buddy.
You the boss here, fella?
Ooh, I love that they have an ending flourish. The music just doesn't end.
All right, so who's the boss now?
It's a... man. These was too beautiful.
They are French, or like, I guess technically they could be like Louisianan.
What do you mean?
Them prospects, you know? See, we did our gig for that red lining coffee.
I've dropped some frames. I don't know if that's Wi-Fi or internet related, or if it's game related, like game PC related.
And build some nice homes, shops too for us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I even threw in some cash to get the whole enterprise running.
Build the wall. Build the wall.
Was the fondue business? But man, no.
Manon.
They don't fool us.
They don't fool. Oh my god, they are like Louisiana. Motherfucker sounds like Gambit.
Goddamn couillon.
Just imagine Gambit saying this instead of this fucking rap.
Who lied? Talk to me.
Them cops. That sleazy's a science ball. Maybe someone else too, eh? Why we even get into moving them shrooms? I was just... I hoped... a nice home. White picket fence, you know?
Never pays.
Glass, half full kind of thing. Everything was going fine. Root was clean.
Welcome back from the ads, by the way.
But then they sent them all.
Oh, he's gurgle. Oh my god, he's gonna die anytime soon.
I'm done for, man. But you watch out now. He's coming.
Hey, stay with me. Help's on the way.
He's crazy.
He's crazy.
Out of control. Gonna deep fry every leg.
And he's dead. Where's the death animation? Show me some death animation.
Rest in cheese, buddy.
What the fuck?
Would you look at that? It's Scummy Gumshoe knocking off
Gumshoe the Pokemon.
That's near against the law, mucker.
The fuck is the Scottishman doing here?
If I stick around, I'm melted good.
Where do I? How do I leave? This way. How do I leave? This way. Bye. See, wouldn't want to be fucking losers. This is in fact the spot that I was talking about. How do I make it to the dude? My guy, you're stuck. Save. Tough save. Ooh, a schematic. I can fully upgrade something, or just save them for. Oh, that's how you do it. For the next weapon. Because for sure I'm gonna get another weapon. I see where I'm going now. This way. Shit, never mind. How do I get in there? Oh, I gotta come back through here? Okay. Oh, I didn't go through here. I thought I did. Rin, yes, Picuña. First of all, omelette du fromage. Ferret! Why is Ferret like a little bit more green than usual? Shit. Ferret, where are you going? Lyra, where the hell are you? What are you doing here? You should be asleep. What are you doing here? He's gonna get stuck in the book. He is. Also, trying to get to bed. Have a good night, Picuña, of course. You don't gotta be here forever. Jump that thing you're back for a big. Nope, you should go back right the hell back to sleep. How stream? I don't know. Nobody ever tells me how stream is. I'm just kidding. I'm the type of bottom question mark that if you guys tell me how stream is, I guess. I don't know. How do you think it's going? If like I said, boob something. There is the red boob in there. You go look for it. In the book. Oh, probably bog down in the bottom right. Boob fondue.
What the? How the hell'd you get here?
Lyra, you don't want boob fondue. That's like asking for second degree burns on your fucking titties.
Still looking.
Well, what's that look, my boy? You got like a misbegotten shrew. Go get them thingies, quick a scram. Shall pass off with you.
Never mind. Yeah, it's oil and cheese. I'm missing a thingy, and I don't know where the thingy is. It's just the way to leave, right? Oh, it's not. Okay. There's a chance that I could still do it.
Now where do you think you're going, Jackie boy?
Oh, come on.
Okay, I thought the stage was done. The stage is not done. What the fuck? What is this burn? Ow, you motherfuck. No, get up. Oh, it sinks. That's why I'm burning. I'm gonna fucking die here. Boss is hard. I hate bosses with platforms like this, I'm not gonna lie. I killed myself. I forgot the thing has a massive explosion radius. Oops. But anyway, there. Hope you're doing well. I'm sorry if I'm telling you to go sleep. You shouldn't listen to me. Listen to no one, not even yourself. That's right, I said it.
Them thingies. Them thingies are coming to
I miss. You wee shite. War crimes? What's a war crime? You're doing okay? Okay. That's all that matters. Destroy the boat! That does so much fucking damage. I'm gonna burn. That did a lot of damage to both of us. Even more damage to the both of us. Remember when they say he's gonna hurt me a lot more than it's gonna hurt you? It's literally hurting me more than it's hurting them. Goodbye. Oh my god, piranhas.
Persistent bastard. Let's see if there's anything worth taking.
Holy shit.
If there's still a him to take from.
Oh my god. What's his note say? Egypt squints. Leaving tracks again. Those Egypt scientists are gonna burn the trail again. Those Brian numpties leave stuff in the depths again. Deep fried crowded. And Mangia. What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck's a crowdy?
This mess went deeper than a breadstick and hot mozzarella. It was time to wedge it into the rest of the puzzle.
I didn't find the final thing though. I have to go back. Please don't tell me I can't go back to this area. Please? It's fucking locked, I swear to god. Fuck. Anyway, Leary, got any plans for May? It's Mega May after all, and you're the mega size streamer, I guess.
Now where's Corny?
Oh, I just didn't finish them, that's why. Fuck. These are missable. God damn it, man. That actually kind of sucks.
So, Jack.
Actually really sucks that they're
Did you pull
missable.
out of the swamps, huh? Tell me it's something useful.
A big red line disappointment, Corny. These cheeseleggers were just middlemen relocating the shrews for a quick buck, making the district clean, nice, and strictly for mice. Heck, even the cops seemed like they were on someone else's payroll. It's all just some cheapo supermarket cheese, layer upon layer upon layer. And right there, sandwiched between all those layers, this sleazy scientist keeps popping up with his sleazy look and even sleazier ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Can't quite put my finger on him.
Well, I know you'll crack this case. I'm sure of it. But
That redlining business is deeply troubling.
I wouldn't believe it myself if it weren't for the dying words of a disillusioned cheeselegger. Poor sod.
Is that pity I hear in your voice, Jack?
Now it's just a cold, and I hate being used. I can't stand seeing people treated like tools by those crooked creeps in fancy suits, flaunting their ill-gotten authority. You know that better than anyone, Corny.
Excuse me?
We've both seen war, Corny. Or did that slip your mind? We were the tools.
Right.
War changes people.
Well, Jack, I think it's the best course of action is to hunt down those cultists, scientists, and put an end to all this ruckus.
Yeah.
They seem to converge in one spot, right?
Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
No pissing in the corners.
I didn't get your burger. Sorry. How about you?
Jack, you ever thought about retiring?
What's that?
Oh, you know, taking the girl somewhere far, far away. Or here's a thought: finding a woman first, then taking Tammy, etc.
Good one.
I'm not joking.
No, Wanda, I had my fair share of sightseeing. Seen enough of the old world. My place is right here.
In Mouseburg, the real melting pot.
Yeah, cross with the cesspool.
Same thing.
Yeah, but it's a familiar thing. You learn to suffer it. Besides, people need help.
People need help everywhere.
Yeah.
And I am here. There are other Jack Peppers out there, I'm sure of it.
Lords forbid.
What do you want to say about that? Hey girl. Powdering your nose, stick figure.
So...
Shrew out the depths. Does that give me anything? Ooh, it does. Ooh, these are connecting. Things are connecting. Is that nothing yet?
Sense a strong lead with this one.
Nothing yet. Okay. Gotta go to Curdsville then. To Curdsville. Wait, what? Am I missing something? Boss man leaves. We will read the comic strip once I get all 29. Does Tammy have something? Is that what's going on? She does.
So, what's the crisis this time, Jack?
No crisis, just stopping by to talk, Pam. Listen.
Oh boy, I smell a pep talk incoming.
No, not a pep talk, just a question. Why are you mixing it up with cheeseleggers, huh?
Look, there's no easy answer. I was deep in my anti-Jack phase back then. Anti-everything, really. And some of those poor sods needed someone who could fix things.
Yeah, but...
No buts, Jack. The wetlands folks, they ain't bad guys. Sure, some are the hustlers, petty thieves, whatever fancy term the suits come up with, but they're broke.
Like her design, yeah. She's like, she's very much like the classic Tinkerer like character, right? But it's also like 1920s mouse. So it's like kind of steampunky, if that makes sense. Like, I guess if you look at the like behind me, it's like a Rosie the Riveter like style uniform.
I've been to war and back.
Oh yeah? And what'd you learn?
Smart ass.
You learned war is hell. Kinda wanna upgrade one of these. Let's upgrade James' gun. Because I do use the gun a lot. Ooh. What, is that a permanent look? Like, does that actually change how it looks? I don't remember, actually. Let's go to combat and find out. Glory to the Hypnotoad. Oh, I think it's just because I can always go back to the PI office. Squeak, honk, 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 honk. Kurtzville. Bah.
Crooked trees, crooked roads, and crooked stairs. Welcome to Kurtzville.
Kurtzville, population me, bro. It's kind of fucked up that his name is Miles Kurd, and he's also, you know, in Kurtzville, so it's like the place is named after himself. It's kind of fucked up. I guess it is kind of like as fucked up as like Metro City and Metro Man, huh?
All sleepy and hollow. Just the way I
Get it, Sleepy Hollow. It's a reference. Hi.
Turn around and leave, Shell. This ain't no place for a city mouse. Bad spirits, yeah, here?
She kind of reminds me of Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm looking for the family home of Miles Kurd. That the big one overlooking the village?
And why's that, huh? You don't look like one of them cheese-snorting shysters. What you want with the likes of Kurds?
I'm on a case, helplessly trying to straighten out the world's twisted string cheese.
Oh, mon pauvre bête. Then you best hold on to this little thing.
And don't sell yourself short, lady. You got some muscle for a...
Ain't what I meant, she said. Take this Gree. Keeps misère at bay, Shell. Might save that heart of yours.
Thanks.
On va se revoir plus tard, Shell. One way or another.
One way or another. Oh, I have to talk to her. That's what's going on. They don't have mouse. They don't have mouse ears. They definitely have like bloodhound ears. Like looking at them closely, it's definitely more bloodhound ear than anything. Let me in.
Well, you look at that. A trick and remember to use both barrels.
Oh, baby, a double barrel shotgun. Oh. Oh, mama. Also, I'm gonna be surprised. How is this gonna work in the sense of like upgrades? Because a lot of the upgrades are like, oh, ammo capacity, but it's a double barrel shotgun. You can't upgrade any ammo capacity on a double barrel. Oh, it burns people. Oh my god, I'm surrounded. Fuck you for kicking me. Little big one. Okay, so Kiss Kiss is it's a sawed-off shotgun, but it burns. That's good to know. actually really good to know that it's flame based.
I'm sure there's a nice, rational explanation for this. Somewhere.
Ooh, schematic. Ooh, piece of candy. Oh, this isn't. I don't like this. What the fuck? It's like kind of a portal, but also kind of not, if that makes sense. So I'm guessing this kiss is gonna be a good boss fighting weapon. Windows is runner, Zvon på Stefan. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it rhymes.
Great. A bunch of zealots, loaded with guns, rags, and just the right amount of crazy.
You mean the kind of crazy that comes from the shit of a bat? Secret? Secret? It's interesting how simple this one was. I guess if it's just money, that would make sense. Ba-bam, ba-bam. Shh, don't make any noise. Does it want me to go to the mansion? I think it does. Yeah, it does. So it looks like this battle is gonna be more later than now. Doesn't mean I can't grab the ammo and shit now.
Ah, the church. That rings a bell.
For whom the bell tolls. Oh, they're Metallica fans. I didn't realize that. They're like 70 years into the future and listening to Metallica. Yo, what's up?
Evening, sir. The name's...
Don't care. No visitors.
But see, I'm a PI and...
Gumshoes stain carpets. No gumshoes.
Man, fuck you.
How about a little tune on the world's tiniest violin?
More stubborn than my ex-wives.
Ex-wives? This guy was married plural?
That mansion's calling my name, but first I need to get rid of that grumpy obstacle. How?
Careful, little
Fortune telling, Shell.
Excuse me? Where are you at? Hey, girl.
I'll pass on the crystal balls, but I'm all ears for ideas on bypassing old jerks.
Oh, that's easy, baby. What scares a deadbeat husband more than a hungry gator?
I don't know. Responsibilities?
Close. Ex-wives.
Uh-huh.
The more the merrier.
Is she one of the ex-wives?
I'm not sure I follow.
That old caretaker? He got a history of saying forever and meaning for now.
God, that's kind of a fire line.
Wedding rings from his ex's shell. Man sees him, he'll cave like a soggy crawfish shack. And just keep that gree-gree close, no?
Now it's time to fight.
Lollygagger.
3 rings. Sure. What could possibly go wrong?
Y'all need to chill. Let this poor guy breathe, please. Thank you. How do I get in there? Where's it want me to go? Oh, I didn't see this door open. Thank you. Thank you, little hint. I know hints are kind of annoying. Not annoying, but controversial to people. I'm okay with hints. Fucking die, please. Thank you. Ooh, a note. Ooh, second place for Betty Lynch. For the unpaired ability to erase herself from her head completely and replace it fully with the acting purpose. What the fuck does that mean?
Well.
Like method acting, I guess? Or I guess character acting? Free schematic. Wedding ring.
Where's that no-good womanizer? That sorry excuse for a husband.
Is she dead?
Irreconcilable differences.
You know, losing that wedding ring might help you let go.
Oh, say, how about a revenge dinner first? Help me cut that bum down to size, and who knows, maybe something more.
God forbid. I get cranky when I'm stuffed.
Me too.
Sure. Fine. I'll show him what's what. On my own.
Next. Fuck. I think I have to hit these bells for something. It's gotta be like an Easter egg or something for hitting these bells. I'm looking for more. Anything? Anything? Looks like nothing. Okay, nothing it is.
No power, no key. Classic. Maybe a little too classic.
What? Oh, I need to turn that. Like how he giggles.
The walls sing to me. Oh, the boss.
Goodbye. Secret. Comic book. Saved the game. Spooky femur dislodge. Okay. I get the key now. Okay.
Whiz bang, clickety clack. I deduce the power's back.
He can rhyme.
Boy, the hoops I jumped through just to get a damn key.
You know, I'm really glad I have that, what's it called? Oh, how dare you. That, piercing. Farewell. Let me get my ammo back now. Any ammo nearby? Doesn't look like it. I have the cheese pump key. Where did I need the cheese pump key at again? Is it back here somewhere? Oh, there's the secret. Oh, I'm stuck. Never mind. Oh no, it was here. I remember this fucking carnage. It's somewhere around here, yeah. Ooh. Get the cheese pump running. Pump, pump, pump it up. There it is.
Boing, buzz, honk a pound. There goes cheese from underground.
Why is he rhyming suddenly?
I'm a poet. And didn't even know I was rhyming those words.
A safe. Like how so easy this one is. It's like there's only certain ways to do it. Money. Oh my god, I fucking killed everybody and myself there. Like legitimately, I did so much damage to myself there. A ring.
Thrown down the well. Just like that.
He drowned
No
her?
sorry, hun. No nothing.
Sounds like your husband is a real downer. Why not let go of that ring and give him an earful, huh?
You know what? I might just do that.
What the fuck? He drowned his wife.
This place sure could use a wraith waster's treatment.
Oh, there's gonna be a battle for this one, I can tell.
Thief! Oathbreaker! There's no takesies backsies in marriage, husband!
I'm not him.
Rise! Rise!
Oh my god! She is crazy, but like, it was because of him.
Usually bullets solve all my problems.
Like, yeah, she's crazy, but like, it's his fucking fault.
Oh no, bullets ain't doing it. I wonder if she tastes light.
I like how he's so fucking petty about it right now too. He's like, oh no, you can't shoot her. I wonder if she hates something like light. How do you know which one's real? Besides the fact that it actually deals damage to her.
Oh no, bullets ain't doing it. I wonder if she hates light.
This fight's actually pretty cool. Like legitimately, this fight's actually pretty cool. Spray and pray, baby. Oh. She mellowed out real quick. I need ammo. I'll be back, lady. Hi. Oh, she looks. Oh, look. She has a broken heart. Look, her heart's missing.
Wait. badger. Sending someone else to do his dirty work? I'll tan his hide myself.
Well, I'd rather not miss that. I live again.
What is that a reference to? Like, I don't know enough about like Doom and games like this to know what that's like actually a reference to.
I wasn't. I love you all. No, of course, Felicia, you're my favorite.
Blood?
No, but
Oh my god. He just fucking died.
It worked.
These levels are long, but like in a good way. Speak here, hang on. Thank you. Needed ammo?
Uncle Take Carer? You there? What's all that ruckus down in the hall?
Woman's voice?
Ruckus? Probably nothing, but I'll take a look, just to be safe.
Alrighty-o. Come on in.
Who's that, the help? Some long-lost kin?
Is this a child?
The hell a cultist?
Like, is this a child or a woman? Or both, technically? Ooh, a map.
Sense a strong lead with this one.
It's gotta be her, right? Secret. And now for another hard lockpick. Said it's hard, but there's only so many moves you can make, yeah. The character says that at the beginning of the game. Never played it, so I don't know. Interesting factoid. Was this cult surveillance? A dossier on the strange cult that emerged in Mouseburg since the Big Mouse Party surveilling these crazies. Files, papers, pictures, all stuffed in one stick folder. Contains dossiers on multiple cult members and online BMPs. Thinly veiled plan to poke around some secret show.
So the BMP's officials are keeping an eye on the cult members. What's their angle? What are they looking for?
Goodbye. I have so much ammo, I actually don't know which guns to use for each situation. Where am I going next? It wants me to go. I know it wants me to go down. Oh, this door opened. I didn't even notice it actually. God, it's so fucking dark. I can barely see. I have no idea if you guys can see anything. Like besides the, you know, the cone of light. Hi, it is a child.
Who the heck are you? Beat it, or I'm calling my dad.
Oh, she's a fucking brat.
Of course. Picking up phones in weird places wasn't really my game.
I like this, like custom animation for this cutscene.
Hello?
Betty Lynch has scratched off the picture.
What?
And the cheese curds have crumbled.
This is the operator. There's been a murder at the secret show. Miles Curd is dead.
Oh shit.
I repeat, Miles Curd is dead.
orphaned kid, man. I feel sad for her. Oh, back we go. So it's not Miles Curry that was involved in this. What the fuck, man? So it's like the cultists, I guess? It has to be, because it's the only ones that are actually in here.
Me, though, I had more questions
Yeah.
and not a single answer in sight.
Tammy's got me on a big job. I gotta stare at this bulb and make it crack with my mind.
What bulb? Oh, I guess that one, maybe?
The quite big affair was all a hoax. No war.
Oh, he's
no
the cultist. This is literally RE4, but again.
Mind. I was there, bozo. Got the purple spade and scars to prove it.
I'll double check my sources. Maybe triple check.
He's like, motherfucker, I was there.
Vivian's nowhere in sight.
Old sewer system. Oh, that does give me a lead. Okay.
If the depths is the route, then I need to get neck deep in it too.
The dossier, is that a new one? That is a new one.
Or a secret show. Both got cult fingerprints all over them. Nah. Gotta talk to someone who speaks street and mages and crazy.
Who would that be? Okay, so all we have is, yeah, Cameron Bozo, because he's the one that speaks crazy. My friends. Wish I had more, but I don't know where to find them. It really sucks that it looks like you can't go back to stages, so like some of these things are just permanently missable. What up?
Hey, Stinktail. What do you know about local cults?
Well, Spike D's got quite the cult following, so,
Sweet Lyburn. No, something more classic, like, I don't know, crazy, trigger-happy, big on robes, that kind of cult.
Not much to go on, but, oh! Uh-huh. Yeah. There's this bunch of loonies. Came down from the north a couple of months back. They check all the boxes. Robes, concealed heat, all that jazz. And let me tell you, boss, they can take blue like Brian Coker after a solid swing. Last I heard, it'd been hanging around the secret showgrounds.
Yeah. What the hell is this secret show? I got a murder and 2 crazy leads pointing me straight at it.
Oh, Manja and Manja's secret show, of course. Huge fair. Can't miss it. Clowns, mimes, the wikes. Must have been there at least once.
No. I hate mimes.
Yeah. Anyway, boss, the bestest of bestest bosses. The grounds are like the perfect spot for the cultists and crazies. They blend right into the crowd.
Good to know.
Maybe. But if they're a mime...
The secret show. Okay.
Glass box.
Anybody else have anything to talk about? Doesn't look like it. Oh, she does. What's up?
Jack!
It's Mr. Pepper to you.
I think I saw that Tammy has something too.
Schmepper. Are you going someplace fun?
I might be...
Go someplace fun! And bring me a gift!
God, fucking brat.
If I'll get a...
Oh! Bring me balloons, Jack! Lots of balloons!
And why would I...
I'm calling my dad!
Okay, Millie. I'll get you some balloons.
Her dad is dead. How the fuck is she gonna call him? Oh, right, this one. Alt fire. Heavy explosive round that explodes on impact, blasting burning it. Ooh, nice. Oh, this has high pushback. That's why you want to buy it. Got it. Oh yeah, I forgot to check my freaking my James gun to see if they have that like spike D thing on the back. All right, bunch of new things opened up. Oh my god, so many options, so little time. So that's the secret show. What's this one? Like the underground or whatever, the depths? Yeah. Let's go to the show because that gives me the balloons for sure. Hopefully it's shorter, I guess, technically.
Okay, Jack. It's just a job. The clowns will be there, and that is okay.
He doesn't like clowns, huh? I mean, I wouldn't trust a clown either, especially not in this time. Oh, it does have that. That's cool. The little belt.
Well, well, if it ain't the fun police. Better circle around this bunch.
No entry.
You ever get bored saying that?
Well. Later, losers. I missed. That did a lot of damage. Bacchus, hi Bacchus, welcome in. Enjoy the smooch. Head pet, thank you. Backstage key, okay. Where do I go? Where do I go? Up, I guess? No? Totally normal wall. Never mind. I know where I'm going. Poor dogs. Secret. That's a really easy secret. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Is this gonna be a secret? Maybe not. Maybe just a shortcut.
Oh, I'm just... Huh. They don't even check their corners.
That's actually pretty funny. Bye.
Well.
Stim. It does more than 20 damage. Oh my god. I had 21 damage and that still killed me. Sorry, 21 health. I thought I only dealt about 20. I thought you were already asleep in like half an hour ago. Anyway, have a good night. Fuck. There we go. That's much better.
Quite the spectacle, wasn't it, dear?
You can say that again, hun. Oh, now the whole season's ruined, and I was so looking forward to the clowns.
What?
I'll never understand your thing for those bozos.
You can say that again, bub.
What? Fuck, they're looking at me and saying I'm the bozo? Excuse me? I saw this. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Hi. Go to bed, Tano. Picture. Have a good night. He fucking splatted.
Mamma mia!
Mamma
I'm never gonna
mia.
financially recover from this.
Was that just a fucking Mario reference?
You the chief around here?
Who? Me? You want
He's
to rub a salt
fucking.
into my wound?
He's doing the Italian fingers.
What?
You one of them coppers, huh? Interrogate, see?
Yeah, something like that. So tell me, what the hell happened here?
Can you see? Francesco de Elefanto, he killed Mr. Curda. Oh, madre di topo, what a disaster! And an opening night!
Really wish you would stop doing that.
He's literally doing that.
Just walk me through what happened, step by step.
Well, we had a rehearsal. Francesco was high on the wire. He's a funambulist, see?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
See up there?
He's a
He
trapeze.
walked the line and he...
Fell.
Oh mio Dio.
Right. So where is he now? And why does it look like a tornado hit this place?
Oh, this Elefanto is really a domo.
Dumbo.
Look at a mess. He went straight through the props.
Wasn't just panic, right?
See? See, Francesco's got a bit of a problem, huh?
Let me guess. Cheese.
A chugs like a water, huh?
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. So he falls, freaks out, bolts.
Don't tell me he's afraid of mice. Or that the clowns were behind it. I hate clowns. And mimes.
You stupido? No. The cheese must have worn off, eh? He's a sulking somewhere in the debris, huh?
Right. I'll poke around and check in on Francesco. You see anyone messing with the equipment?
Eh? Crowd was a full, huh? Could have been anyone. Take a look around, huh? It's a stupid old fan.
So, like, stereotypical Even Mario isn't this stereotypically Italian. It's fucking crazy. Seriously.
Mamma mia! I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
I was like, God, even Mario doesn't sound this Italian. It's fucking crazy. What the hell? I need 4 tickets? Gross. Oh, there's a clown. I hate clowns.
Oh, it's a clown. It's okay. It's okay.
Finger guns! How am I missing them? Like, actually. I'm really bad with the finger guns. Oh, I don't have to stand there. Okay, that's fine. That's why I'm bad. Fuck, man. I don't know why. It was kind of hard. Like, legitimately. Is there a secret back here? I feel like there would be a secret over here. Can't run on that? I think you'd be able to run on that. Like, actually. Whatever. If you can't, you can't. Fuck. Okay. Now, is there any? Yes, there is. Oh. How do I get out of here? Oh, down. Secret found. How is this a secret? I guess I get it.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Hey, this the way to the elephant's dressing room?
Yeah, but as you can see, cleanup's still a mess. You'd have to be like fast as the wind, you know, run on walls.
Oh my god.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I don't think I can. Or even want to.
New power upcoming.
Like your dreams. Be dreams, man. Just do it.
Ew.
Please?
Ew. Ew. Those shoes were disgusting.
Hey, man.
We're not even done down here.
Jeez, he's a stoner before that shit really existed. It's kind of scary, right? Like, God. Aw, hey, what's up?
Yes? Hey,
He has a fucking dart in his head. Look at him.
Police? Oh, no. I'm a private dick. Oh, the language. As in private detective. Just here to ask a few questions.
Look at him. He has a fucking trank dart in his head.
Yes, sir. Since I was a baby, it's my coup de grace.
Coup de grace. Yeah.
Coup de grace, indeed. So, what went
I like
sideways
it.
this time? I don't know, sir. Swear on my mother's grave, it just happened. Well, not much to work with. But everything cracks with the right nudge. I didn't do nothing bad, sir. I didn't do nothing bad, sir.
Yep. Picture. It's a hell of a lot of blue cheese.
Finding cheese in a maze.
Pierogi all over Wallop Bay. I'll read it all that. A little later. That was a secret? It's right next to it.
I didn't do nothing bad, sir. Really? Then why is there a bucket of blue cheese leftovers in your room? What? Oh, no. Marco was supposed to dump... I mean, take out the trash. Oh, no. Hey. Relax. I'm not here to arrest you. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Now talk to me. Where'd you get the cheese? Oh, no, sir. One never discloses his supplier.
That's right. No, snitches get stitches.
Was it your regular dosage? Same dealer? Now that you mention it, something was off, kind of fishy, with a side of heavy perfume. The cheese tasted funny.
Mm-hmm.
Then it all went blurry, and then, well, you know. You panicked? Not exactly. It was more like a realization. All the training, my career crumbling. What I'd done, so I ran to my room, straight through the decorations. So, panic. Mozzarella, gorgonzola, sir.
What?
All right, I think that's all for now.
What?
Get some rest and lay off the cheese. Will do, sir.
Hey, thanks for the ticket. I need one more. As for where, I wouldn't know.
See? I told you something was off. Cops all over, and now a PI? Bet it's got something to do with that dame.
What dame?
Third row, the one you were ogling, right up until the
Oh,
elephant
I'm
dropped on
glad
that
I
poor guy.
went over here.
And don't give me that I have a squint BS.
I do have a...
Oh, zip it.
Interesting. Time to check the audience seats.
Come on, you got this.
I do. I was just checking if there's anything down there. Where do I go? Where do I go? Oh, up. How? Oh, I didn't even see that. Legitimately, I'm kind of blind. Wise guy, huh? Fuck you. There's a vent here, I just saw it. Secret? Key. A bag. 'Twas a magnifica evening, my dear. Aside from that little cheese incidental with that dumbo elefanto. He's a good boy, see? Just can't lay off for the cheese. If he ever discovers the blue, we are doomed. Doomed. There's a high-profile meet after the grande spectaculo. Regular thing. On the clown backstage. Invite only the police, some old world eggheads. Very exclusive. I'm kind of big here, so I might get you in, huh? Until tomorrow, ciao bella. P.S. I am leaving my wife immediately. Niccolo Mangia, from managing director of Mangia and Mangia.
A high-profile meeting. Yeah.
How was my Italian, by the way?
That.
I think my Italian was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I had to go through there. I didn't even realize. Oh, I'm glad I turned around. Excuse me? What the hell did I hit? I think I see what I hit. Oh, it's there. I see what I hit.
Shrew-sized. Definitely used. Just like the ones down at Walla Bay.
I'm glad that this wasn't like locked permanently or something. Let me get all the tickets. Oh, secret. Excuse me. Imagine I fall and I have to... Oh, my friend. I wish they had other animations.
Charm and half the fondue bill.
I get it. I get it. Wait, what the fuck? There's a second secret inside the secret? Alright, what next? Where did I get the other ticket? What the fuck?
What are you buying?
What are you buying? Oh my god, he fucking said the thing! That's it. No secrets? Any secrets?
Tickets Tickets here, tickets.
That'll shut the little devil up. For 5 minutes, maybe.
What are you buying?
What are you buying? Where you at?
Tickets. Tickets here, tickets.
Watch it explode. Does this mean I still want spray and pray? Oh. Fuck. Oh. Fuck am I doing? Huh? I don't know what the fuck I was doing there, but I got it. Was it just aim? Was it just get one in each hole? I guess. I don't fucking know. I got it. That's all that matters.
What are you buying?
I already fucking bought it, you bitch. Get out of here. Secret. Don't shoot. Don't shoot.
Remember to use both barrels.
Holy shit. I don't know why they keep giving me that ammo when it kind of sucks, honestly. The kit, I guess because it's not upgraded, that thing kind of sucks right now. I don't like this. Ooh, a blueprint. I really don't like how this looks already.
Seven, ja? Und two right here, and another three. But minus the four.
Got him.
Now, add the big one.
Mm-hmm.
He counts for two because he is very large, yeah?
Yeah.
Und, wait, I need a chalkboard.
I dare you. Say und one more time and...
Oh, they're all fucking dead.
Well. Detective Jack Tesla. I was told you might interfere.
You just blew up half my caseload, so yeah, I might interfere.
Very well. I'll keep this brief.
Fucking Phantom of the Opera looking ass.
Poison detective, but the clock's ticking.
Oh my god, I think it destroys bosses.
Right there, Mr. Pfeffer. We'll have to finish this another day. I'm cash in hand hourly, and my time's up. Gotta hurry before my bookkeeper clocks off.
Howie.
Guy's obsessed with westerns and the... forget it. Not the problem.
Wait. Who hired you?
I'm not your enemy, for now. But don't mistake me for a friend. Ciao.
A hitman with a bookkeeper who has a westerns obsession.
Mm-hmm.
This day just kept getting wilder. Had to snoop around the Tinsel's backlot later. For now, let's see what's left of my suspects.
That's really funny. Like, this weapon just destroys bosses, but it's kind of weak otherwise. I think it just fires too slow. I think that's why it feels weak on non-bosses specifically.
All right, boys, you're free to go.
And girls? I'm a girl.
My apologies. And the girls.
Please, don't misgender.
Whack in there, man. You really went the extra mile.
You're making me blush. Still, he got away.
Oh, like a little coward. You'll get him next time. We believe in you.
Totally. And besides,
Yeah.
you deserve a prize.
A prize?
Yep, a real one. Show him, Tommy.
Oh.
Righty-o, Miss Jackie.
Ta-da! A ticket.
That's it?
A ticket. Great. For a show?
No, sir. A boat ride. Big party, real classy types. Says so right there on the ticket.
How the hell'd you get this?
I found it in one of them cops' pockets. He was
relieved.
Yeah, relieved of the burden. So now it's yours.
Well, thank you, I guess.
Cool. So can you free us now?
When I feel like it. Was this a key card? Okay, it looks like the code is 513-15453. What? Oh wait, two of the numbers don't match up. So it's not really. I don't know.
Now that is.
Yeah, it's a weird looking key. Yeah.
What is this even for? The secret show was fresh out of secrets. Finally, I could leave the clowns to their circus and
Holy
put the
shit.
old brain back to work.
Anyway, when I get back to save point, I will stop for the night. It is getting late. I'll go back to the office. That'll be the save point.
I do hate the mimes and mysteries, especially weird ones. It was time to pin it to the wall and see what shook loose.
So, did you get me some balloons?
Yes.
Yes.
I did.
Do they float?
No, they're deflated, but I got you a whole pack from the carnival. Happy now, kid?
Yes. And don't call me child. Soon I'll be as big as Tammy.
Yeah? Well, your mouth already is.
Excuse me?
Get fucked. Ooh, Jeremiah Kerr. That's like a family member, I'm assuming.
You know how politicians are, Millie.
Like, always making promises and never showing up?
Ooh, that's too real.
Something like that. He's probably up to his whiskers in handshakes and empty promises. Election season, you know.
Yeah, well, he's never around anyway. Think you could call him? You're less scary than Uncle Take Cara. Maybe he'll actually pick up.
Wouldn't bet on it.
Oh.
Tell you what,
She doesn't know you
here's a
fucking died.
Go see Uncle John, grab yourself a soda. And if I hear from your old man, you'll be the first to know, all right?
Alrighty-o. Thanks, Uncle Jack.
I lost the... He said that was a nickel. I lost a coin. You didn't see it because I think my head was covering it. I lost a coin giving her that nickel for the soda. All right.
I've seen that symbol before. Just can't put my finger on where.
It looks like it's caduceus, but I don't think it's caduceus. I think that's how you say it, right?
That's for one of those fancy steamboat cruises. Could be worth a look. Getting in, though, that's the tricky part.
Okay, I gotta go to the Tinsel Avenue then. Okay. Yeah.
Mob bookkeeper and a cowboy obsession, huh? I know just the kind of saloon he'd crawl into.
Mouseburg for mice.
What? A strange dame. Would that be Vivian? Or even Betty? Alright. We'll stop here. Exit the game so that way I'm not lagging anymore. We go back over here. I have to turn off black and white mode. Give me a second. I gotta turn music back on. Oh, the song just ended. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm back in color. We are back in Technicolor, baby. All right, we are all done for today. Thank you guys for being here. Sorry it's a little late again. Like I said, because I was so tired today. I needed a little bit extra me time to decompress and stuff. But we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully around the same time. For those of you who don't know what's coming tomorrow, the teaser is that Rob Zombie and a clown are involved in this retro game. If you still don't know what that's a reference to, it's a game called Twisted Metal. And I have not played that game since I was a kid. There's a very good chance that game sucks and I don't play it for long and I change to something else. But if I enjoy it, I might play that game for like 2 or 3 weeks. And the reason why is because there's like 10 different characters that have like their own story, I guess, if that makes sense. Even though it's technically an arcade game, like arcade style game. But yeah, anyway, Twisted Metal 3, this one, yes, specifically Twisted Metal 3, because that's the one that I played as a kid. I never played 1 or 2, and the only ones I played was 3, 4, and Black, I believe, were the ones that I played. But yeah, it'll be Twisted Metal 3 specifically for the PS1. I do have some cheat codes in case I need to use them, by the way. Some of them I remembered, some of them I looked up just because I did remember them, but just in the wrong order. Anyway, yeah, we're done for now. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm still really tired today. But yeah, that'll be fun tomorrow. And then Friday we'll get into the Rhythm Heaven series, because I'm in a rhythm game mood, and Rhythm Heaven I've never played before, so why not start with technically the last one, Rhythm Heaven Fever. I don't count Mega Mix because it's just a compilation technically. But yeah, anyway, should be a fun week, but I'll catch you guys tomorrow, okay? Have a good night, guys. Bye.